Pope Francis has delighted Catholics celebrating Easter by making an appearance at St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. It was uncertain if the Pontiff would be well enough to take part in today's celebrations due to recent health problems. The Pope greeted the crowd and gave a blessing. In a speech read by an archbishop, he called for peace and the liberation of political and wartime prisoners in the Church's Jubilee year. In a rare alignment of the faith's calendars, this Easter is being celebrated by the Catholic, Protestant and Orthodox churches all on the same day. Journalist Seema Gupta joins us now from Rome. Seema, despite fears his health could have kept him away from today's festivities, the Pope did join the faithful today in marking Easter. Tell us more about his appearance.
Well, the 88-year-old Pontiff appeared right at St. Peter's Basilica on the balcony. He didn't actually read the speech, but as he came out, the crowds of tens of thousands of people cheered. They were happy to see him there. Clearly, that was a highlight. He wished them a happy Easter. And then after that, the message to the city of Rome and to the world, the Urbi et Orbi that is delivered every Easter and every Christmas, was read by a delegate, someone that the Pope had delegated to read it out. But even after that message was read out, he also blessed those present. And then, much to the delight of everyone, after all of that, he actually appeared down at St. Peter's Square itself on the Pope Mobile. Now, that is really quite significant. It came as a complete surprise to those gathered there. He went around stopping occasionally, even to bless babies that were brought to him. And the vehicle also made its way all the way down Via Conciliazione that leads to St. Peter's Square. So quite a significant moment, considering that just less than a month ago, Pope Francis was discharged from hospital after dealing with a 5-week stay, getting treatment for double pneumonia. And during his stay there, he risked his life. There were at least 2 occasions in which he risked to die. So considering that he's technically still convalescing for that, it was quite significant, his presence at St. Peter's Square today.
Seema, again, as we bring you live images of St. Peter's Square, as you mentioned, an aide had delivered the traditional Easter message instead of the Pope himself. But what can you tell us about the Pontiff's message, what he called for?
Well, that message was his message, and we saw him emphasize the plight of the vulnerable, the marginalized in society. It was a general prayer for peace, as he does every Easter. He decried violence and war, and he also decried the problem of contempt towards the vulnerable, the marginalized, and migrants in particular. Of course, there have been issues on this particular issue of migrants vis-a-vis the new administration in the United States. But he also called for peace in the Middle East, particularly highlighting the plight of Palestinians and Israelis, saying that there should be a ceasefire, a release of hostages, as well as helping those that are starving. He talked about praying for peace for other Christians around the Middle East. And he also mentioned Ukraine and how it was important to pursue a just and lasting peace in that country. And then he turned his attention to the continent of Africa, calling into the situation in the Congo, in Sudan, as well as South Sudan, and in Asia, looking at the plight of the people in Myanmar and how they are facing armed conflict as well as earthquakes. So really calling for disarmament, calling for peace around the world.
Seema, the Pope finally met U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance this morning. What do you think the two men discussed?
Well, we did finally get confirmation that there was that meeting. It happened about half an hour before Pope Francis made that appearance at the balcony at St. Peter's. So it happened during the Easter service. We know that the U.S. Vice President traveled to Casa Santa Marta. That's the residence where the Pope is. He was alone. He was not with his wife and 3 children. It was a short meeting. The Vatican has confirmed it, and they also said that they exchanged Easter greetings. So not very much in terms of actual detail, but this was a meeting that was speculated throughout the vice president's visit to Rome and to the Vatican. We know that he met top Vatican diplomats on Saturday for more concrete discussions on issues like migration, as well as other commonalities. The talks were described as cordial, but clearly there were points and opinions on various issues. For the moment, though, it looks like Mr. Vance did get the meeting with the Pontiff that many have reported is something that he was looking for. Let's not forget as well, he is a convert to Catholicism. He converted in 2019.
That is journalist Seema Gupta in Rome. Many thanks as always, Seema.